Good afternoon and thank you for watching Tracking Trends with me, Nikunj Dalmia. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll talk about trends and what could really make your portfolio. We'll try and really pick up here in the show some trends which you can identify and you can benefit from it. Stocks where you can write to us, you can send us a WhatsApp, you can email it to us, we'll try and include it and we'll try and get you an expert opinion on that, and I'll also try and pour in my understanding of the company or for the sector. But before we do that, here's a look at 2 o'clock Monday afternoon. What are the headlines we are working with? Market headlines coming right up on the queue in terms of where the market positioning is and what markets are. It's a new high for the Nifty. We're a touch and go moment with 22,000 on the Nifty right at the morning trade itself. New high for benchmark indices. Nifty is about 20. Aviation sector, there's a lot of delay, a lot of fag, a lot of fog, a lot of angry commuters, a lot of tweets, and the social media right now I think is really flooded with a lot of passengers who are complaining about poor service which some of the top airline companies in India they are providing. We'll understand the impact of fog in the aviation sector, what it means in terms of the earnings and how this could really have an impact on the profitability and the visibility for the Q4, and what is the big picture argument for the Indian entire aviation sector. But numbers are numbers. On ET Now it's all about numbers and facts, and here are the facts which really stack up for you in terms of where the number of flights are versus what the number of cancellations are. The total daily flights on domestic flights in India are about 2,900. 2,900 are the total domestic flights in India every year. On 14th of Jan, which is yesterday, 2,500 flights still took off. And only 12% flights, in a sense, were delayed. So just look at the impact of it. The average traffic in the month of Jan is 4.3 lakh. On 14th of Jan, it was 3.8 lakh. It's down by 12%. Now, is that a very large, meaningful number? Well, it's a trouble for commuters. It's a trouble for passengers. It's going to be helter-skelter. It's going to be in chaos. I also wanted to fly. I personally had to delay my travel. It was not an emergency travel because you know that when there is chaos at the airport, commuting will get affected. So I think seasonality in terms of the weather really has a very large role to play here. But does that change the big picture? And the big picture for Indian aviation sector is that it is projected to grow anywhere between 15 to 20% for next 8 to 10 years. Yes, the aviation sector is likely to grow at a run rate which is going to be almost 3 to 4% higher than India's nominal GDP, about 1 to 1.2 times more than the actual GDP. So in this entire long-term growth sector where Indians are commuting, we prefer time over money. Air travel is no longer a luxury. What is the market share stacked up? And interestingly, the market share is still a resounding number one is Indigo. Resounding number one. They've pretty much managed to hold on to their market share irrespective of the twists and the turns and the peaks and the twists which are happening in the sector per se. The market share right now is at actually a record high, nearly 62%. Tata Group, courtesy Air India, Vistara, their market share is at 26%. Akasa is yet to make a meaningful dent. Their market share is at 5%. They're ordering new Boeings, but right now it stands at 5%. And SpiceJet is, they've lost market share with all the bad PR and the reputation damage they had to go because of flight delays and because of safety concerns. Their market share has now dwindled to about 6%. The other interesting bit is, if one really looks at the number of the aviation sector would be ordering. And there you go. It'll just come up on your screen in a second from now in terms of the total market share gain. It'll just come up. The number of planes which everyone's off. All right. We got Samir and Sumit Chaturvedi. They both are battling it out on a foggy Monday afternoon in Delhi. And they are going to be giving us the sides of the story. One from the ministry, the aviation ministry, what is the plan to deal with this chaos, and second is the real impact for the airlines per se, because airlines for the longest time have been claiming that we modernized, we've got planes which can land in the fog, we've got a new technology which in a sense will ensure that does not matter how foggy or smoggy Delhi is, the planes will still land on the runway. So good afternoon. I can see it's slightly clear skies today. Samir, Sumit. So the आज planes land कर रहे हैं लगता है, right?
Well, it looks like it's a quite a sunny day as compared to yesterday when there was chaos across the airports, at least in North India, beginning with Delhi when flights could not take off, and later on it led to a cascading problem yesterday on different sectors. One video we saw of a passenger slapping a captain due to the apparent frustration he had. But today seems to be a better day. Lessons learned since yesterday, because yesterday was clearly a day when there was no visibility, especially in the morning from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. Sunday being a day when many passengers, many flyers, they go from their hometowns to workplaces to hometown, and holiday travel is still happening. So yesterday was a bad day that led to a lot of scuffles or bad experiences, both for airlines as well as passengers across the country. But today seems to be a better day. Yes, you pointed it right. The sun is shining and fog is a little low. And beginning with Delhi Airport, well, it's having 3 runways, but only one is CAT compliant. Even that was not working yesterday because of zero visibility situation. So that led to problems yesterday. And now a government statement has come. Samir can explain more on that. As far as airlines are concerned, well, there can be problems from their side as well, because untrained CAT pilots are also a problem. But airlines say little we can do. Where they lack is treating passengers or understanding their needs while there's a delay in aircraft. We must keep in mind many of the flyers are first-time passengers, or maybe they're flying not very frequently, so they don't understand the nuances that go behind this.
What is the story so far in terms of what the aviation ministry is likely to do in terms of an official comment, and how exactly are they addressing this issue? Because, Samir, frankly, this happens every year. And every year, despite the fact that efforts are being made, it really boils back to mismanagement.
Absolutely, sir. This is a year-on-year practice wherein a dense fog usually impacts the flight operations. So, in the recent development, Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia has mentioned 2 things. First is that instructions have been issued to the Delhi airport for expediting the operationalization of the CAT 3 compliant 4th runway. As of now, Delhi airport has got 4 runways. Out of these 4 runways, currently only 3 runways are functioning, and of these 3 runways which are operational as of now, only one is CAT 3 compliant, which definitely means that during the dense fog or low visibility when it prevails, so the flight operations are going to be impacted. So Delhi airport has been directed to quickly functionalize the 4th runway, and for the same, DGCA, the regulatory body, will issue the approvals as and when the 4th runway gets fit for taking the flight operations. The second instruction that the minister has issued is regarding the better communication to the passenger. So the DGCA has been asked to prepare a SOP, standard operating procedure, that will be followed by the airport operator as well as by the airline for a better communication with the passenger and all the stakeholders, that how the flights are being impacted, what better could be done, or if any alternate arrangement is being done. So these sort of important things or information will be properly disseminated to the passengers and other stakeholders, and for the same SOP has to be charted out and it has to be prepared by the DGCA. So these 2 important instructions have been issued by the minister. In addition to this, the government has said that yes, during low visibility and also when the visibility drops down to just 0 meter, then the flight operation is bound to be impacted, and minister has requested the passengers to bear for some time, to bear this inconvenience, and all the stakeholders are trying to ease out the situation as and when possible. So government has stepped in, government is trying to communicate with the stakeholders and trying to mitigate the problem as soon as possible.
Samir, Sumit, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. All right, now let's look at what is our take, their take on the chaos which is happening in the airport. A lot of people are asking me that is it end of the Indian aviation sector? Will aviation stocks correct? This is how we think things are. Foggy news and smog in Delhi, I guess you should be a buyer. I'll keep it very simple for those who are, sending messages and creating spreading ruckus on the social media saying that Indian aviation sector is not headed anywhere. Think about it, guys. 149 airports currently operating, and 74 are expected to be added up in next 5 years. So if you ask me for a theme, I would say after railways, aviation actually could be the next theme. And when I say aviation is going to be the next theme, that is a perfect cue to connect with Couple Call of Kappa. Couple, it's 5th of Jan, and we started blocking your calendar every year, thinking that when will we call you to get an update on fog and how can everybody deal with it. This year we are 5 days late.
Well, I think fog has been unprecedented, Nikunj, this time. Cold, fog, and there are usual challenges at airports and airline schedules during this time, and it is just not only at Delhi, it's at Bombay. And I was speaking to an airline executive in the morning. Even Chennai was having fog related disruptions. It was normally a North India phenomenon, but it's mostly at other airports as well. So it's usual. The almost December, third week to mid of January, that has been a usual challenge with fog, and this is no different. Last year, we were battling with congestion at the airports. It was not so much of fog, largely the congestion at airports. This time it's perhaps both, but it's just a 3 to 4 week kind of a challenge. And I think from mid of January or third week of January, you will start seeing easing of the fog related challenges.
So Kapil, is there a solution, or do you think there is a huge procedural mismatch, and what in a sense could have been averted easily actually just becomes big and even gets bigger every year? Because every year air traffic is growing, number of passengers are growing, number of small cities and non-metro connectivity is increasing. So I guess this in a sense is becoming more like an annual affair, but the impact of this is becoming very large.
Yes, in a sense that if you look at the airport, which is very well equipped to handle the fog related challenges, is Delhi Airport. It has Cat 3 runways. I think they will incorporate Cat 3B and possibly Cat 3C later. But the other airports which are in the vicinity of Delhi don't have the Cat 3 landing system. With the result that if you have a challenge at airports which are closer to Delhi Airport, it has a cascading impact 2 to 3 weeks. So there is a business case as well as for it. But generally, I think Delhi is well equipped. I think you will see next year, same time, Delhi Airport being much equipped to handle it. But it's the corresponding airports around it which will be a challenge, and I don't see this changing. It will remain a phenomena for 2 to 3 weeks, in spite of the fact that Delhi Airport will be equipped, but your corresponding airport or spoke airports may be a challenge.
All right, I think I'm going to take that last part of your answer as the punchline, that there is a business case. 2 to 3 weeks, that's it, it happens every year. Does it make sense to really invest in the infrastructure? Yes, it gets bad PR, it's a chaos, a lot of inconvenience for passengers and commuters, but can this be averted? And what is the business case for this? Because you cannot be saying that, okay, there are going to be more additional charges for airports which are investing in infrastructure. Airlines cannot be charging something which could be called as fog landing charges. So it really needs to be addressed primarily at all levels in order to really reduce what could be called as this entire 2 to 3 week chaos which happens at every airport because of Delhi winters. Couple, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll address your queries on the show. Sanjiv, Bhasin would be joining us. And we've got a long list actually. Polycab, Z, a lot of stocks which are in news. We'll address them. Well, thanks for staying with us. Time to address your queries on Tracking Trends with me, Nikunj Dalmia. First query we want to take is essentially on MCX. 69 shares of MCX, 32.49. Should I buy, hold or sell? This one has come from Ivoni. Thank you for your query. Bhasin Saab, MCX is like a monopoly business. It's a business which is almost like a toll bridge. If you want to buy or sell commodities or win hedge, you will have to pay exchange.
1 is the exchanges, 2 is the brokers, 3 is AMC, 4 is insurance, and 5th is asset management. All these 5 will ride their way because volumes are huge. Yesterday, the MCX had a record turnover, And I think at 17, 1800, it was dirt cheap about 4 or 5 months back. It has almost doubled from there. So it's not that the stock has not run up, but I still think exchanges are a very, very good play to, stay in India as a capital market is going to grow. And the commodity size is seeing huge amount of volumes and hedges both on those sides. So I think the business model has undergone a sea change, like you said, from last year. I would continue to stay hold with this. If you have a 1 year view, I don't think you should be able to, you should want to sell this, because the business is very, very clear. And I think this IEX will be a very, very strong play over the next 1 2 years. So if you have a 1 2 year view, I think 5,000 on this will not be far-fetched.
Second one, Polycab, lot of queries, 300 shares. It's a query from Mr. SM Reddy from Hyderabad. He bought 300 shares of Polycab at 5,000. He's losing about 100 rupees approximately. But since our first year view, and then I'll talk about the news part. Polycab, independently of what's happening, at 4,000 rupees. Is it a buy, sell, or a hold?
Well, I would say hold, because you've got unwarranted into this news flow, which has been negative and extremely negative. Because remember, these stocks become overowned by FIs and institutions, and when they run up, there is no tomorrow, and when they fall, then everyone is for the exit door. I am not going to be able to comment so much on the news flow because the company has denied, and the IT authorities. The business underlying is extremely good. But at a market cap of almost 60,000 crore, the stock is not cheap. So when you hear these type of news, obviously there will be knee-jerk reaction. The underlying theme remains that the business which they are in is extremely good. So I would say hold, do not add till you get more clarity from the management, more clarity on the clearness of the data, which is both sides. And once the negativity goes, I think it will all be dependent on earnings, which could be the next catalyst both on the up or the downside in the next week, 10 days.
And I fully endorse, Mr. Reddy, what Bhasin Saab has to say. Look, the short-term function of Polycab would be a function of the news, depending on how the news moves. And that is something which is conjecture. So you'll have to perhaps, the news development in a sense becomes the near-term trigger. So next 10% move in Polycab could be a pure function of news. But at 5,000 rupees, the stock had become very stretched in terms of market cap and P multiple. It had gone to a P multiple of 70 times, and normally these businesses don't last at P multiple of 70 times. Now, assuming that they come on the right side of the news, then the stock, in a sense, I think will still take some more time to regain its previous levels. Why? Because once that entire halo effect goes over, the right P multiple will be a function of earnings. The sector is in a great shape. Polycab is a great brand. They've managed to gain market share. So they're doing all the right things in terms of at the progress, and things are incrementally moving for them. So if you add all those things put together, I think it's a great business. It's just that the news and the price is something which would be very difficult to call in the near term. But that's it on this show. With me, Nikunj Dalmia on Tracking Trends. Thank you for tuning in. Up next, closing trades, and we'll capture the last 60 minutes of trade.